Hey everybody, it's your boys, Nathan, Crash, and Chris.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
I'm good.
I'm glad you're doing good, dude. I missed you.
Are you doing good? Do you do good?
Do you do?
Are you good?
I do. I good.
Is good?
I is good. I is very good. We're back with welcome to We Get Bodied, or welcome to Bodied by the Internet, where me and Chris read scary stories. And I'm doing that. I'm saying that with the loosest. I mean that in the loosest of terms. I'm doing air quotes.
For better or worse.
For better or worse, we're reading stories off the internet that may or may not be scary. How the format of the system works, if you haven't already watched the series or know how we function, me and Chris read a story. At the end of each of our stories, we stop and we talk about the story for a little bit. We give our thoughts, and then we give it a numerical rating from 1 to 10. You're encouraged to do the same. The only requirement you have to play this game is to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. That's it. And there you go. You got a free ticket to play in our game with us.
Otherwise, you're not welcome here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Go away.
Go away. Yeah, you're scaring us.
Yeah, stranger danger.
All right, I'll tell you this much. You at least just have to like the video. If at the end of the video, that's when you get to decide whether you want to hit the sub button and smash the bell. But I encourage you to at least give us a shot. Hit the like, and play the game with us. If you have any stories you would like to have us read, go ahead and leave that in the comments as well. We're more than willing to check that out.
I've got like Queen's Play the Game stuck in my head now.
When you said play the game, I thought about Motorhead's The Game.
Yeah.
A much superior song.
I know. I was like, we have like such different interpretations of that. I was just like, oh, it's Queen, and you're like, oh, it's Motorhead.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about controlling if you can take it.
All right. So here we
game. There's no way you can play.
Here we go.
All right.
This one's called "If You See One, Stay Away. Don't End Up Like Me." And that is Econometrician. That's who it's by.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, that's a pretty good title.
Here we go. What I'm about to tell you is a true story. Just kidding. Or you don't know. What I'm about to tell you is a true story, as unbelievable as it was. It happened, and I will never forget this moment in my life. I hope what I write serves as a warning, too. It's happened to me years ago. Let me start from the beginning. Attention, attention, we are experiencing a surplus of voids on the eastern side of the city today. Please be mindful of this and watch your children especially. Yeah?
No, go ahead, dude. No, I'm not. I got nothing to say.
Sorry. Can you believe it? Personally, I would never have believed anyone who told me the near future would be filled with these voids. Time voids, that is. No. Stop it! I'm trying to take it seriously.
Okay, sorry.
And then in the end.
Okay, sorry.
Alright.
Sorry.
No one knew for sure, but there's supposed to be these portals that suck you in if you get too close. Stop it. You've already ruined it.
Sorry. I'm just already I already got my rating. I'm about to give up first on this fucking show.
All right, we're gonna get through it.
I'm not sure about this. This episode might only be one story.
Yeah, if you never let me get through it.
Oh my God.
Not sure why scientists call them voids. Doesn't that mean empty space or something? These things were definitely not empty. They do this circular motion stuff that makes people dizzy. Some are purple, others are completely black, and some are even transparent, simply deforming the air around them.
They're bad guys. Oh my God.
Fucking weird. They're rare, and so are reports of any victims. I guess people are smart enough to steer clear of them for the most part. As to why they were renamed Time Voids, well, I was 14 years old at the time. My one and only sibling, my sister Chasey? My one and only sibling, my sister Chasey, was 11. My family and I used to live in the city until my parents decided to move us somewhere less crowded, as they put it.
Hopefully with those tumblers.
My mother was the real reason we moved, as she was always afraid of the voids. My father, on the other hand, wanted us to stay in the city. He wasn't concerned about them at all, and dismissed them as nonsense. I, like, paused to, like, wait for you to say something snarky about that.
God, this is a good story.
But in the end, Mother won, and we ended up in a quiet, secluded small town. Life in a small town was naturally different than city life. People seemed nice here. Well, most people. I didn't make many friends at Jefferson High School. I guess word got around that I was a corny city boy who was probably a spoiled brat. Marvin and his three stooges, as I like to call them, were especially insufferable. They'd never leave me alone, those guys. Marvin was their self-appointed 6-foot-tall, pimple-faced, no hairline having 15-year-old leader. They never missed the chance to call me city boy and then interrupt themselves mid-sentence and go. Was I reading off the screen?
You're about to, yeah.
Oh, okay. Interrupt themselves mid-sentence and go, oh wait, did I say city boy? I meant sissy boy. Such a clever bunch. I could hear them arguing one night. My parents were never good at hiding their emotions. If they were feeling something, they were going to show it. It sounded like the usual. My father having to leave his lucrative job in the city because my mother was, as he put it, paranoid. Don't you dare accuse me of not caring about my own children, Claire. Then stop complaining about the sacrifices you made as if your job was more important than your own goddamn children. We are not in danger. It's all just hysteria from the feds to get us to buy their stupid protections. We're done here. I'm outside smoking a cigarette if you care. I heard a door slam and then the sound of shoes clacking up the stairs. I pretended to be asleep, but I was never good at hiding my emotions either and let a tear slip from my eye. Daniel, honey, why are you still awake? I gave up. Sorry. She smiled. Why are you up so late, buddy? I don't know. I'm not really tired. I don't think I can go to church tomorrow. I'm feeling a little sick, actually. She gave me that look, with a tilt of her head, and that was that. Go to sleep. I closed my eyes and felt the lights turn off, and then switch back on through my eyelids. Oh, almost forgot. We did this thing, Mother and I, where she'd place her thumb on my nose and mine on hers, and then we'd say, I love you 100.
When this is posted. Just wondering what. And he's gonna, him and his brother are gonna use alchemy to get her back, and his dad then comes back from smoking a cigarette.
The next morning was a Sunday. We all got up.
Voids, John.
We all got up around 9 a.m. and headed to church. The drive was about 30 minutes, and it was a nice warm morning. We stopped at a red light when my father angrily hit the side of the steering wheel with his palms, as he always did when he failed to make the yellow. We also stopped next to a void. Oh, dear God! My mother gasped from the passenger seat as she made the sign of the cross. Tuh, whatever, my father dismissively uttered. Cool, my sister Chasey exclaimed. I just stared at it for as long as we were stopped. It was a yellow one, and it was as large as the oak tree behind it. Well, maybe half its size. My memory isn't what it used to be. They never emitted any sound, making them look all the more horrifying as you never knew when one might form next to you. You must constantly be on the lookout. As soon as the lights turned green, my father hit the brakes, and we casually went on with our day.
That's like the opposite.
The
what
brakes,
you do.
yeah.
It's like the opposite what you do.
It's the time voids, bro.
It's the time voids, John.
A few weeks later, I was on my way home from another dreadful day at Jefferson High. It was a beautiful day outside, although 14-year-old me wouldn't have used quite that word to describe it. The sound of trees blowing at the zephyr of the wind, the sun's playing peekaboo between the racing clouds, and the calming and desolate stillness of a small-town neighborhood, a town which began to grow on me. It was a beautiful day that I decided not to ruin by going home so soon. I went to the neighborhood park that was just a few blocks from home and texted my mother to let her know. I regretted that decision as soon as I saw 4 tall and very familiar kids sitting on a bench near the park. It was too late to turn around and start walking back as they had already spotted me. So I froze there as they approached me, contemplating what they were going to do to me, and them contemplating what they had in mind for me. I could almost see Marvin rubbing his hands together as he walked over with that evil smirk he was always wearing. What do you guys want? I nervously inquired. Sorry.
The time wizard. All the water for my body.
As usual, Marvin spoke up first. "Run," he said, still wearing that evil smirk. I was perplexed, but I didn't ask what he meant. If the little experience in that town has taught me anything, it was to never to think twice. Instead, act according to your gut and nothing else. So I ran as fast as I could towards the main trail, which was the only one that led into and out of the park. Then from there, a bridge connects the trail with the neighborhood. I ran and ran, glancing back every few seconds to see the four of them keeping up without a sweat. And then, after glancing once more, I turned my head forward to be confronted by a void. It wasn't there before when I walked into the park. It must have formed after I crossed the bridge into the park, completing before I got the chance to escape. As frightening as Marvin and his stooges were, the mysterious portals that we've been warned to keep away from since childhood are petrifying. This particular one was the biggest I'd ever seen. Dark blue, with a diameter akin to that of a storefront. I froze with a piercing fear and looked back at them. To my utter shock, Marvin was still smiling, as opposed...
My other...
What?
My other shark.
To my other shark, Marvin was still smiling, as opposed to sharing my fear of the void. Fear I believed was universal. I half-heartedly pled, "Please."
They're gonna fucking void him, dude. They're
Yeah.
like swirling him in the void.
It was no use, and they continued towards me. My phone dinged. It was my mother. Believing it to be my very last moment, I gave up my appeals to them and frantically pulled my cell phone from my jeans to tell her goodbye. It was a reply to the text I sent earlier, letting her know I'd be going to the park after school. "Don't go, Daniel. Dinner's ready." And before I could comprehend that last word, and before I could even bring my phone down from my face, Marvin kicked me in the chest with all the strength he could muster, launching me into the void. I woke up to a familiar world, not too different from the one I just left, or rather, from the one I was just cast out from. This world was eerily similar to our own, except for some rather depressing features. It lacked diverse color. Everything was either gray or white, a little black here and there. The sky itself sported different shades of gray, not because there were clouds, but not because there were clouds. There weren't any, and neither was there a sun or a moon. The trees and other beauties of nature seemed artificial and were the same shape. Every tree and every bush was identical to each other, differing only in color. And it was raining. It was always raining. Straight out of the Giver. I looked back to see that the void through which I arrived there had completely disappeared, leaving me with a feeling of complete despair. The ground was made entirely of rock, and it looked as if it was paved by people. So I looked around to see if there were any, and that's when I was tapped on the shoulder.
And that's when I found that there were people.
I whipped my head back before the rest of my body could catch up, and I saw a woman. She looked to be in her mid-50s and had a long set of hair, dark red in color, the first time that I saw color there. She had bags under her eyes, and her glasses slipped slightly down her nose, with her eyebrows down and a line between them, as if she was trying to figure me out. And then she spoke. "So young, so very, very young you are." "Who are you? Where am I?" I responded. "You fell in, and everyone who falls in does not dare leave." I quickly got over the fact that my heart fell into my stomach at those words and continued on. "I was pushed in. It was an accident. How do I get out of here?" I demanded to know. The woman took a step back and steered her head to the right. She pointed to a gray mountain surrounded with mist, and then turned her head back to me, saying, "Ask him, but no one dares leave this place without consequence." I ignored her and walked towards the mountain. As I got closer and closer, I saw a man standing near it. I don't know who he was or why he made the decisions, but I wasn't going to waste any more time. And that's the thing, time.
Void.
I felt like I was in that place for years. It couldn't have been that long, of course, but that's what it felt like. Weird, right?
Yeah, I feel like this is like some sort of foreshadowing or like a literary device or...
Anyway, this man was dressed in black and gray and was pretty tall, probably a little more than 6 feet. His face was quite normal looking, and he had pitch black hair that sloped his forehead. I asked him the same questions I asked the woman, who he was and exactly where I was. He responded, "You want to return?" "I do," I answered back. "Are you prepared to accept the consequences? Much has passed where you have come from. You'll have to return differently so that it makes up for all that you've missed." gave him a puzzled look, but he didn't return it. He gazed emotionlessly, unwilling to elaborate on these so-called consequences. I told him I was ready to go back. That's when he walked away. Before I could even call out to him, a black void began to form just a few feet from me, disrupting the pace of my heartbeat and causing me to take a few steps back. It was obvious what I was supposed to do, so I jumped in. I woke up to a much more familiar world, or so I thought. There I was, in the park again, except the park was completely ravaged, with nothing left but a swing hanging on a single chain. The public bathroom was also still there. I walked in to see if anyone was inside. Instead, I discovered something else. I looked in the mirror and saw a man in his 40s staring back at me. I raised my hands to my face and glared at them with horror, as these were no longer the hands of a 14-year-old boy, but those of a much older man. This is what I was warned about, I thought to myself. I found a sticker on the bathroom wall which hauntingly read, "Vote Jason Roadster in 2040. Must have been at least 26 years since I left. But I had other things on my mind, like my family." I went looking for them. As I walked out of the park, I went through the trail, the grass around which hadn't been cut in some time, and then I walked onto the bridge, whose wood was now rotting and became darker in color. Finally, I saw my neighborhood. I knew now that my house was just a few blocks away. As I walked, I couldn't help but feel such nostalgia, remembering how I used to walk home from school on this very same path. And there I was, a grown man now, doing it again, as if I just picked up right where I left off on that beautiful day. I saw my house. I ever so carefully and nervously approached the stairs that led to the porch. I knocked on the door, and a very elderly woman opened it. She didn't recognize me, and I couldn't even see her, so I asked her to open the screen door. I very slowly walked forward and pushed it open. I began to slowly make out her identity. It was my mother. She looked to be in her 60s. In that moment, it all made sense. I was 14 when it happened, and my mother 34, and now after experiencing 26 years in that place, I was in my 40s and she was in her 60s. With all sorts of emotions gushing through me, I calmly let out, "Mom, it's me, Daniel," I said with a crack in my voice. She still didn't recognize me, or she didn't believe me, so I slowly put one foot forward and gently rested my thumb on her nose. Her knees couldn't carry the weight of those words, and she nearly fell to the ground before I caught her. We sat there on the doorstep of the house and cried. I asked her about my father, and she cried even more, saying, "Daniel, I'm so sorry. He just couldn't handle the guilt. He blamed himself when you went missing." I was angry when I heard that he killed himself. How could he do that to our family, especially after what my mother and sister already went through? She went on to say how Marvin and the other boys at school confessed to it all after a witness spotted us in the park that day. So here I am, writing this in my room, which my parents never bothered to change. Everything is exactly as it was when I left. Mother said it was the only thing left for them to remember me by. I still think back when it all happened. I think about the woman with red hair and that odd, mysterious man. I think about all the other people who were probably there too, somewhere. Apparently, I was the first confirmed case of someone making it back, the first survivor as they put it, but I certainly don't feel special. Something's missing. As much as I love my mother and my sister, being here doesn't feel right and nothing is what it used to be. Between you and me, sometimes I think about jumping back into the void because now there's a void in my heart and I just can't take it anymore. I let out a sarcastic chuckle when I heard that all too familiar government announcement through our neighborhood's public space. Attention, attention. We're experiencing a surplus of voids on the western side of the city today. Please be mindful of this and watch your children.
This is a fun story.
The problem was it was
Way too long?
and predictable.
Yeah. Yep. I was like, I was already like, let's see his mom do the thing that they told us that they did. Then shit's gonna be like bad because he disappeared. Because he's really important, you know. Like, you know, I figured like not. I didn't know until he met the lady in the void, and that's when kind of I was like, okay, I know what's going
Yeah, as soon as
I lost my shit when they first brought up the fucking.
I know you did.
Cause I wasn't expecting us to run into one of these already.
Yeah, she said, but no one dares leave this place without consequence. That's
Yeah.
what I was like.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how the rest of the story's gonna play out.
I'll give it like a 4.5. And I feel like that's me being generous. I'm trying to like make up points for like my
Yeah, I
past.
can give it a go. Yeah, I'll give it a 4. It was just pretty underwhelming. It was predictable. The writing itself was fine. It was just like the story itself.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a super interesting story. Time voids. I don't know.
Write a book, dude. Keep this off of no sleep. Because this shit put me to sleep.
I made that joke, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's a callback. That's how we do it here. It's a good joke.
I don't know. Maybe letting it go that they were time voids was a little premature.
Yeah.
Like,
because how would they know they're time voids?
well, yeah, because he's writing. He's
writing.
all this stuff already happened, and so he's telling you that they're time voids.
Yeah.
So he already knows they're time voids, but it's like us, the reader,
you know what? Actually,
don't know.
Actually, it makes sense because he's like, as to why they were renamed time voids. Well, and then the story begins.
So he's like, he's in his 40s writing us this story.
Yeah.
So I just think letting it.
I like how
letting
the
it
first
slip.
sentence is a lie, though. The first sentence is a lie.
What?
Read the first line of the story.
What I'm about to tell you is a true story.
Lie.
As unbelievable as it was. Well,
It's a lie. In this fictional universe, it's true.
look at
Everything is true here, even if it's not. All right, fuck.
no sleep rules.
Sorry, dude.
So
I'm not following no sleep rules. I'm not commenting on.
I just think
Yeah, he blew his load.
yeah, I think he shouldn't have let it slip that they were time voids so early. I think you should rename them. I don't think they should be called time voids. I think voids
Was fine.
maybe a little too simplistic. Maybe like I don't know, distortions or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know, something maybe just a little more mysterious. Voids aren't really like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like, oh, it's a void. It's like, oh, all right. Like a distortion. It's like, what do you mean by this? I mean, I guess it's the same for voids. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking. But don't call them time voids because like you're just letting the whole plot of your story go
Out the
way
window.
too early.
And especially for one so long. Maybe trim some of the fat too. Because honestly, mysterious guy, old lady, don't need to be in the story.
They don't.
Honestly, it makes it honestly for me. I think it's cheap, and I mostly think it's hokey. That's like Disney Channel writing.
Or maybe instead of cutting them out completely, you can give them a purpose. You can allude to the fact that they were like they were people who've been pushed through voids as well. And then like I don't know, maybe you can like do something with that.
No, I think because I think the mysterious guy with his hair sloped on his forehead.
Yeah.
That guy's time void god. He's like, do you want to leave? And then he's like, yeah.
And then he makes a void.
And then he makes a void.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's
time void god.
maybe he's the cause of the voids in like the overworld, so to speak.
Look. The story was cute. I think like if you want to write like a little novel or something, like some YA fiction, you could probably do it with this concept. I
feel like there was a lot of references to young adult fiction, like the description of like this like of like the void world.
Yeah, how it's like
It was straight
grayscale.
up. It was straight up The Giver.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So I'm like, if you want to do that, you could do that. I think as a short story though, I don't think it works. I think it falls pretty flat on its face as.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, 4.5. I'll give it a 4.5. I'll give it a 4.5 because there was obviously a lot of like effort put into it, and it wasn't put together badly. It's just again, it's kind of one of those like, it did kind of meander a few times.
Yeah, a little bit. Like the writing itself wasn't bad. It was just like the overarching story was just kind of boring.
Yeah, no.
Because I pretty much knew what the theme was, and like there was no mystery behind it, and I was just kind of like,
Yeah, it's like the big problem is like you do like you could cut out like the first like you can cut off like everything up until I was 14 years old at the time. Like I was 14 years old at the time. That's where you could have started the story.
yeah,
And then like you could have let voids.
and then yeah, I wouldn't even explain voids. I would just like
let the story do that for you.
yeah, and then explain them as you encounter them in the story.
Yeah, because it's like you wanted to do that, and like you edited in that first bit, because like the dad already talks about it, dad and the mom argue about it, in the beginning of this the beginning of the story, so like that's kind of like your introduction to this foreign concept. Because like the thing was,
and like your
and it happens
character
organically.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I wouldn't have lost my shit as hard. It's like, dude, because it's like, hey, this story's fucking true. This story's fucking true. By the way, time, like time voids, and like I was just like, what the? It's just like it's too jarring. It's like, it's too hard of a change of pace. Yeah. Besides that, it was like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that kind of like, I mean, I'm not gonna say deconstruct this one because it wasn't a bad story. It just wasn't a good one. It's a very middle of the road. Like I see what you're trying to do there.
There's a lot you can do to make it more interesting. One, I think you shouldn't spoil the whole time thing, the whole time travel thing in the beginning.
Yeah, like I said,
like just leave that out.
I was 14 years old at the time. If it had started there, the story would have had a much better first impression on me, and I would have been a lot more willing to like sit through it. Like, because again, I was like laughing for like 2 minutes, so I missed quite a bit. But like the big thing is like it keeps the intrigue there, because then the parents are arguing about it, and so it's like, what, is it really bullshit? Is it really like a hoax or whatever that the government is conjuring up? Like it adds a little bit to it, so you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't save it that much, but it definitely adds a lot, and like it kind of like. It's definitely padding for like the kind of story, because you don't start stories out by introducing like concepts like that.
I don't think you adding the fact that like I don't think the moving thing is like super necessary.
Yeah,
that just feels kind of fluff.
Yeah, that's that's like a fucking Goosebumps thing. Like you really didn't need that. Like it really didn't add anything to the story. Like, you didn't have to go into, like, super hard detail why they moved, because, again, they kind of argue about that later in the story. So,
yeah.
I'm actually changing my rating to a 4. I'm going to match mine with yours. I think 4 is actually...
The I Love You 100, you obviously just watched Endgame.
Yeah. So... Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, now that you brought that up, this is probably like a 2. I changed my mind. It's a 2. Because I just realized, like, once with the I Love You 100 and then Time Voids, yeah, it's definitely a 200. A 2. It's 2. This shit sucks. It was way too long for like, no fucking. Like, it was way too long. The whole bit about church, all that shit did not need to be there. There was a lot of stuff that didn't need to be there, so fuck this story.
Yeah, you're not a bad writer. I think just your story structure just needs work.
Yeah, your story structure needs work. Yeah, because he's not a bad writer. I'll give him that. He's not a bad writer. It's
like the reason it got hard for me to read was because of the fluff. There was just a lot of fluff, a lot of stuff that just didn't need to be there, and then the ending was just predictable. So like once I already knew what was gonna happen, I just it totally removed me out of it.
Yeah, because it's like the big thing is like, again, it was that first like 4 paragraphs like don't need to be there, because they don't serve the story in a meaningful way, because there's already examples of all those things that you explain in those 4 paragraphs. They're regurgitated through the rest of the story, but they're much more organic there, and those moments would have more impact and wouldn't feel like fluff if you didn't have those 4 paragraphs. because again, it goes kind of to that treadmill, you know. You're getting something every now and then, you know, and it's sprinkled in. Instead, since we already know all this shit and they're just arguing about it, it's like, why am I reading this? And like you know, those 4 paragraphs worth of information being like chopped up and sprinkled in throughout the entire of the story actually does wonders. But the structure that you chose to go for is like a detriment to the story, and like it hurts it in a very impactful way.
I think the Void World is interesting, even though you said that the characters don't need to be there. I could definitely think they could have played a more important part in the story. Because now I'm reading this line again, where he says, "Between you and me, I sometimes think about jumping back into the void," and I immediately think that lady,
yeah,
is someone who fell into a void,
got
out,
and went
back.
It's possible, yeah.
And that's why she has colored hair.
Yeah, and
because she's from the overworld and not from the void world,
like the other guy is.
And then she was warning him of
that.
See, you got interesting stuff in there. You've got like the makings of a decent story. It's just, I think, trim the fat a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe spice up the story,
shuffle things around a little bit.
The like where you like the direction of the story, I think, spice up a little bit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trim the fat. The story actually benefits a ton if you just trim some of the fat, because some of that auxiliary information only pegs down the story because it slows the story to a crawl. Like, it took forever for the story to get to where it needed to, and it literally didn't have to take that long. Like, it was like you gave us like a real Goosebumps setup, whereas like it was literally like 3 chapters of setting up for something that could have happened in a much smaller time frame, and it would have kept the pace at a nice brisk, like, you know, it would have been a nice brisk pace. It wouldn't be like, you know, you wouldn't be beelining through the story, but you also wouldn't be crawling towards like all the. It would have just helped a lot, because that's like the biggest thing is like towards the end I was just fatigued because like, dude, there's more of this fucking shit.
Yeah. You know what? I might actually bump my rating down up a little higher, just to a 5. Because there's stuff in here that was good. Like stuff I just mentioned.
Yeah, like
and then you write eloquently. It's just like you overdo it. Like,
yeah.
It's like you're really strong in one area, and so like that's the area you focus on, and you're just like, and so you just write. So like, yeah, like you write nicely. It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get tunnel vision.
So yeah, I'll give it a 5. It was predictable, and that made it boring, and there was a lot of fluff. But I see a lot of cool stuff you could do with this, and maybe given like the criticism, like maybe you could change it into something like way more interesting. Because yeah,
I'll give it a 4. I'm still sticking to a 4.
All right,
let's swap. Let's fucking tag me in. Come here. This is the first. Hell yeah, that sounded good. Spike the audio, I think. All right. So now that we're done with, oh, man, dude, I can't believe you called it.
What?
I'm not gonna say it because I'm not trying to hurt that dude's feelings. But you said something before we started recording this episode, and I'm like, dude. All right. So now that Chris's story is out the way, go ahead and leave your comment on the story in the comment section. I'm gonna start reading mine right now. The name of my story is I found a jar of teeth at our North Korean Airbnb.
I'm kind of excited for this one.
This one's by Batauto. By Batauto. Yeah, by Toto. By Toto. Batosai. Okay. Let's see. Alright. I feel obliged to give this place 0 out of 5 stars. This is by far the worst Airbnb. What did I say at first? B&B? Yeah, the worst Airbnb my boyfriend and I have ever stayed at. Our room was on the 5th floor of a drab tenement on the outskirts of Pyongyang. Yeah, I'll
Pyongyang?
try.
Yeah.
I tried. The building itself looked like it hadn't seen maintenance since the late 80s. When we got inside the flickering hallway lights and unexplained hospital smell did not prove inviting. Let's scroll down a little bit. Oh, also this is we already said who it's by. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right. There was no elevator, and we had to drag all of our luggage up the steep and narrow stairwell. The walls were lined with a dozen portraits of King Jong-un in various poses doing dental work in the open mouths of enraptured Koreans. We had to squeeze into our room. It barely contained enough square footage to fit a bed, a desk, a shelf, and an old dresser. Oddly, it was vertically quite roomy, with the ceiling above us 2.5 stories overhead. All right. There were no windows, and the only source of light was an exposed bulb in the corner of the roof. It was too bright to look at directly, but not bright enough to read by. The bed sheets looked, felt, and smelled like old cheesecloth. Cheesecloth.
It's like a type of cloth you people usually wash a car with it.
Oh, okay. All right. I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Okay. There were 2 pillows. One was too large for anyone to comfortably rest upon, and while the other was a flaccid, empty sack. On the wall was a black and white poster of executed Romanian leader Nicolae Siscu.
Naruto!
There was a jar on the shelf that looked as though it was filled with miscellaneous white pebbles. Teeth in our story. However, on closer inspection, it contained an assortment of teeth. At first, I entertained the possibility that this was left by some sentimental mother hoarding their child's lost baby teeth, but no. They were clearly adult teeth, and going by the dried bloodstains, none had been removed without a fight. The attached washroom was a study in contrast. The bathtub was a stained gray basin fit to wash hogs. On the other hand, the sink was extravagant. There were 10 varieties of imported toothpaste, silk, dental floss, a premium electric toothbrush with new adjustable heads, a water pick, and mouthwash from the Loire Valley. Loire Valley? Loire Valley. Yeah, the Loire Valley. The Loire. At night I could hear the loud clanking of a hidden elevator. The shaft had to be adjacent to our room. We heard it ascend and descend the building and make a ding noise every time it reached a new floor. The elevator wasn't the only noise. I swear I could hear the sounds of muffled screaming mixed with the high-pitched buzzing screech of a dentist's drill. The next morning we both checked around the outside of our room, but we couldn't find any openings. I don't know why the elevator had to be hidden from guests. It would save so much climbing. The next morning we went down to the kitchen for our complimentary breakfast. After the pizza in Pyongyang, I was excited to find out what our host had to offer. Sadly, all I found was a cupboard full of cereal boxes featuring photos of athletes from the 1984 Winter Olympics in Sarajevo.
Yeah, Sarajevo.
Sarajevo. There we go. Thank you. The contents had turned into a chalky powder that smelled like burnt Teflon. The rest of the kitchen was a disappointment. The fridge was chained up with a padlock, and the sink was clogged in handfuls of blood-soaked cotton gauze. The counter was strewn with a wide variety of rusted pliers soaking in alcohol. My boyfriend and I went out and saw the Mask Games. Sorry, dude. You're my girlfriend, not my boyfriend.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, it's my boyfriend, it's my girlfriend.
You wanna be my girlfriend? Fuck, where was I? You fucking... Oh, my boyfriend and I went out and saw the Mask Games. I'm fucked up, dude. I'm waiting for the time for it to show up. I saw the Mask Games and came back the same evening to find someone had rummaged through all our belongings. Nothing was missing, but there was muddy footprints, and the room reeked of peppermint.
First time in North Korea.
First time, yeah. We also found a pair of X-rays tacked to the wall that showed a human jawbone from different perspectives. That night, I couldn't sleep. My insomnia was made worse by the noise of the elevator, and screams from below seemed closer and louder. My boyfriend snored away beside me undisturbed. I was staring into the darkness when I saw a sliver of light from a secret panel behind the Sesquiu poster. I kept still while it slowly swung open. An old Korean man wearing a blue dentist mask and gown emerged. I could see he was carrying a large dental drill fed by a large power cable that railed into the wall. He loomed over us, and I could hear his labored breathing. He looked like he was poised to pounce on us when we saw him examine our passports. He was suddenly taken aback and made an abrupt retreat. He grabbed the x-rays and quietly withdrew back behind the poster. I heard the elevator rattle and bang its way down into the bowels of the building. The next morning, my boyfriend and I checked out and caught a Kyoto Airlines flight back to Mountain. During the flight, I was rummaging through my carry-on luggage when I discovered that someone had placed a new travel-sized toothbrush and floss into my bag. My boyfriend said it wasn't him, and I couldn't explain where it came from. I cannot recommend this Airbnb.
First comment, you meant the Korean version of the tooth fairy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was literally about to say use the Korean tooth fairy. You fucking stole it from me.
No, that's what the first comment said.
Oh.
I just read the comment.
Oh, I was talking about
It's Korean tooth fairy.
I thought you were
Dude, this shit's funny. I actually liked it. It wasn't scary at all. Like, it was a little creepy, but like...
You know what this story reminds me of?
It was more like
This is like Art of the Viper.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No, it reminds me of
Hostel.
Reminds me of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Kinda, yeah, the dentist.
Yeah.
The story was stupid.
Really? I thought it was stupid, but in like a
It's stupid in the fun way.
It's like a charming and cute way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even like the kind of how it's like it's set up like a Airbnb review.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh look, our boy Werewolf.
Hey, Werewolf. Why would you stay a second night? That was just asking for the nightmare that unfolded. But on the other hand, it's so cool that North Korea is doing Airbnb now. I know, right? It's almost as if they have internet.
Look, I'm glad to see you survive your 33rd birthday. Because this is the same guy who wrote one of the stories. He wrote the fucking...
Yeah.
He wrote one of our favorite episodes that showed up on one of our... Whatever, dude. I'm glad you made it to, like, your 33rd birthday or whatever the fuck. This story was stupid, but I like it. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Yeah.
It's nice, middle of the road. It's not gonna get too many points with me just because it was kind of quirky and dumb, but...
I'll give it a 6 because it was better than the Time Void one, and I gave the Time Void one a 5.
You know what? I didn't consider that. I'm giving it a 5.5. It was definitely better than the Time Void one. And you know what's the beautiful thing about it? This one was short.
Yeah, it was short, sweet, cute, straight to the point.
Yeah, I really like this one.
And I really like the fact that he doesn't want to take teeth from Americans for some reason. Assuming you're American. You're not Korean.
I'm assuming he's American. Let's see if this dude's written any other stories. Oh, we want to explicitly say that, like, we're not... I don't think this story is cool because it's painting North Koreans as, like, malicious people. It's just... This is obviously a work of fiction.
Yeah.
And even if the story is true, the thoughts...
And being foreigners visiting North Korea, that's... They pretty much, like, fucking just show up and go through your luggage.
Yeah.
Because... not allowed to be there unless you're under like heavy fucking surveillance.
Yeah, so you know, this was a cool story. I had fun with it. Story. Oh man, you know what? We're just not gonna. I'm not gonna sit here read a bunch of other stories. I think we skated off with another middle of the road. Actually, this is a middle of the road episode. At least it wasn't.
we did the last 3. We had a low, we had a high, and then we had a middle of the road.
Middle of the road's nice.
So we struck all 3.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
It didn't suck. So like, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, I did not like the Time Void one. That's why I gave it a 4.
Yeah, it was definitely.
That was a fucking chore to even sit next to you. Like, that took me to like a point like where like there was like a point where I was like when I was a kid and I have to like go to church or something.
Yeah, and you were forced to like.
No, I would sit there and like tune everything out.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened for a while when you were reading the story.
Yeah.
I tuned out.
Yeah.
And then I like caught myself and I was like, oh wait, I have to pay attention.
Yeah, I kind of tuned out too while reading it. But the Airbnb one, I like.
I actually like it.
I liked the Airbnb one.
I actually like it.
Yeah,
That's why I gave it like a 5.5 because
yeah,
it's nice and like it's a nice little, like you said, it's like
just like a fucking like
creep
he creeps out of the fucking.
He's like, and he's got a big ass drill. He's like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, I'm gonna take the teeth. He's like,
you see the
he's like, I was just like the crew. Like, fucking runs into like it's and like the way that scene was set up was really cool because it's a dark room.
Why didn't she say anything to her boyfriend about it?
She's an idiot. Good job, Bato. You're fucking dumb.
Get a new bro friend.
Yeah, get a new bro friend. Get a bro friend that looks at you the way Chris looks at me.
Bro friend. That's funny.
So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. That was clearly the superior of the two. But you know, if you have any thoughts or differences in opinion, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. And what else is there? What are we forgetting?
Like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't already.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you wouldn't
but
have.
you should have, because we told you in the beginning of this fucking video that you needed to like, comment, and subscribe to fucking join in this video. But you clearly didn't listen to us if you haven't done it already.
So you're fired.
do it now.
Or someone might.
The North Korean dentist is gonna find you.
The North Korean tooth fairy.
North Korean tooth fairy.
We'll take your teeth.
Yeah.
All of them, and
your bro friends.
And your bro friends, and then they'll pawn them to us, and we'll make a sick ass necklace out of your teeth.
Yeah.
Or like cool like rings.
Or I'll eat them.
Chris might eat them. Chris likes eating them. That's like the Teen Titans Go episode.
There's a Teen Titans Go episode with that?
Yeah, it's the tooth fairy eats teeth. and then Raven finds out, and like.
Oh, I have seen that one.
That one's awesome.
Oh yeah, that one was fucked up.
Like
that tooth fairy was gross.
Yeah, he was fucking gnarly looking.
Yeah.
Like if you like Teen Titans Go. And if you don't, go ahead and leave a like too.
DEENTANS.
I'm just getting it right now. That's gonna do it for this one, guys. Be sure to follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nathan_Crash. I'm gonna say that every episode, so just do it.
Till everyone in the whole world.
Yeah, make everyone do it. Just be like, dude, just get them to do it. And maybe, and then if enough people do, I'll shut up.
Then when we discover intelligent life on another planet,
I'll be the ambassador.
Then we're gonna fucking tell them.
Yeah.
And then we'll get everyone to subscribe on that world.
Yeah.
And then soon we'll get everyone to subscribe on every world.
Yeah. We'll be the unifying factor that brings together the entire universe.
Yeah. It brings about a universal peace.
Yeah. And also sick nasty story reading reviews.
Yeah.
We love you.
Through the power of Reddit.
The power of Reddit. The most powerful tool at human disposal. It's a great avenue to share real stories. We need to stop going to No Sleep. No Sleep. I should have remembered that No Sleep was like just. It's just like a hub for some of the worst shit. Like No Sleep is like old creepypasta websites where like the try-hardiest dudes about. Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but like we should try like a Let's Not Meet episode next one.
Oh, let's not what?
Let's Not Meet, like r/Let's Not Meet.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like creepy encounters with people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cause I don't know, man. We've had like a real mixed fucking bag with No Sleep.
It's true.
Let's mix it up a little bit. Different types of spooks, like scares.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be. I was just making sure for fucking clarity. I was like scares.
Yeah. Yeah, scares.
Yeah.
Anyway. on that awkward note. Try not to get bodied.
Try not to get bodied, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry. I lost my voice. Dude, that Korean tooth fairy though, like, how big are his wings?
Fucking tiny. They're tiny. Tiny little gross wings, and he's got like hairy back.
Like he's not wearing like a shirt.
So no, he's wearing like the dentist's like apron.
Oh, just the apron?
Like the front, like, yeah.
But like he's got like the gross like chest hair that connects to his back hair.
Yeah.
And it looks like a triangle, like that's in a mirror.
Yep. And then like two tiny little gross insect wings
on his shoulders.
Yeah, like real high up.
Oh. Like all over the blades.
And then he's got like a real creepy face. Yeah.
He's got like the viper face. Like, the Viper Room? I don't give a shit about no stupid indie band. Oh, it's okay. The music ended. We out-talked the music.
Yeah.
We're good. Here. I'm gonna leave this with you, the Viper! The Viper. Well, Jesus Christ, they're really gonna make me like...
There you go.
Oh, here you guys go. See if this is perfect for you guys. There you go. That's what he probably looks like.
Yeah, probably.
But Several. Subscribe to the channel.
Give me your teeth.
Or you'll die.
Give me all your teeth.
Subscribe to the channel or I kill all your teeth. Do it. Do it now. Get 5 people to sub to this channel, or at 3 a.m. I'll be over your bed.
What are you still waiting for?
What are you waiting for? Sub to the channel, idiots, and check out the rest of the We Get Bodied series.
Oh, you fucked it up.
Oh wait, this is like when you're trying to like go to bed and shit, and like, oh wait, I go back. Perfect. This is when you're trying to go.
And he creeps into your door.
Yeah, he like creeps through your door and looks at you like that. Good night.
Are you sleeping yet?
Good night, guys. Make sure you subscribe or you'll die. Try not to get bodied.
Try not to get bodied.
Fuck you guys.